Let's see how this works. All right, hello everyone. I'm just testing out some new options here. I have no idea how this is going to work. Just looking to see what the video quality is with a new setup. Always trying new stuff here, so we'll see. Now I can actually go in here and change the lower third to the new thing. So that should pop in, ideally. Weird. Why not? It's unhappy. That is the thing. Huh. Wonder why that's not working. A little worrying. Don't know what's going on there. But hello everyone who's watching. Again, this is sort of a quick hangout to talk about stuff. I'm actually planning on watching some anime later today. I've been chugging along with other things, other projects. I'm a little worried about this. Maybe I didn't get the whole thing. Copy. 1 second. I just gotta knock on my door. That's odd. I got a package. How exciting. So for anyone watching, I'm curious what the sort of video quality is on this. Like, is this decent? Because I can't really tell. Like, I get some response on my side, but I can't tell if that's actually going out nicely on YouTube and so forth. Let me do a quick unboxing of whatever this is. I'm sure it's not anime. It's probably just a little Returns Processing Center. Returns Processing Center? Weird. All right, let me... What is this? A little unboxing. I know I ordered a little like USB hub thing, which is again not very exciting, but a useful thing. But it's not scheduled to come until like tomorrow. So let's get started. What the hell? Oh, okay. Yep. Nope, this is fine. This is actually a thing for work. Yeah, this is my... Cool, this is the device for work. Good, that is a thing I don't have to worry about right now. It's all fine. Sorry, I can't really show it to you because it's a work thing. That would be a little problematic potentially. But that makes sense. I ordered that like 2 days ago. That's pretty impressive. So yeah. This is just that I don't know why it won't show the lower chat. Let me just see what's... Can I see... no, it's just... That's actually the thing. I mean, that's... Oh, maybe I need to be, like, logged in over here? Let me just try something. Ah, no. Let me go over to, am I not logged in at all? That's probably it. I need to be signed in. Hold on. We'll make this work. I know this is not particularly exciting to watch. And then two-step verification. Yes, that's me. Hooray. Then the question is, if I go in there and redo that, I may need to like reload the page or something. Is that, let's try a different thing. something. I hit that. No, it's still just like empty. And it's not even loading the custom CSS, which is weird. The custom styling, which should give it something. Let's try refreshing cache of current page. Nope, it's still just, how odd. Well, I think I can play around with, see if there's something else going on there. But I would like some. All right, let's try this. Let's do the giveaway genres. Oh, I can't do that because it's not on here. Right, I need to load in all the images I used to have. All right, that's not too big of a deal. Yeah, all of this is, well, let's see here. Let's put this on here just to see what happens. Just some extra text, just to see how overlaying works. See if it's fairly happy with that. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. Hey, Maytel. No, it's just I should be getting a black bar on the bottom, but it's not even loading the black bar, which is weird. Otherwise, I should be seeing something. But how is the overall like video quality, audio quality, all that kind of stuff with this new setup? I'm wondering, hoping it's all kind of okay. It is annoying that I have a different set of drives on here, so I'm gonna have to change all of my URLs. But such is life. Quality's good. Cool. Okay, this might be the good setup. So basically, I used to have a desktop. I still have a desktop, but I'm switching over to a beefy laptop for streaming because it'd be nice to just kind of consolidate down, and then if I'm in a hotel, if I'm doing something, I can stream from the same machine. And even if the internet connection's not the same, I have access to all the same tools I used to have. So that would be kind of ideal. And apparently, laptops are now solid enough that all that works. So let me try something else. Let me switch over to a Discord view. So I should have it's capturing presumably the wrong thing. Why is it Discord audio capture, display capture? Display one, because we want. I can't choose the other display. Why can't I? Well, if I change this, move this around, and then move that around, move that there, can I now choose that option? Boy, this is the annoying thing, is that there are lots of different things to test out, and there's no really good way of doing that. Appreciate you hanging out here, Maytel, while I'm figuring all this stuff out. Nope, I can only just select the one display. That's weird. I wonder if I have to, shut down OBS and restart it with the other screen connected? Maybe, you think? Possible. It's just weird that it can't see that other screen. Base, downscale, video output. Yeah, it doesn't seem to have any settings for different scenes. So maybe I would need to shut down OBS. Please stand by momentarily. I just need to restart. The stream. So give me just 1 second. All right, so I should be back now, or I should be coming back online. That is the hope. So you should be seeing me now. And, hey Matt, yeah, date's wrong. Thank you. Let me fix that. Where's that? Shooting chat, there it is. Friday. just put that up there for now. Hey, Omar. Hey, Matt. Good to see you. So like I said, I'm just playing around with some settings here to fiddle around with a new computer, which is always exciting. So now the question is, can I go over and select the other screen? There it is. Okay. So if I do that, but it's not seeing it. That's interesting. Because that is the other. What I think I want. Wouldn't I want display the other display? Weird. It's just not doing a display capture at all. Let's try that one. Display 2. Nope. Weird. Why can't it? It's just a black screen whenever I try to capture the other thing. The other thing to be a bit low. That's weird because it's kind of spiking here. It's showing it's pretty loud, but I can increase it. So give me a second. I will increase the audio. Sound settings. That's not it. Settings. Was it? Mixer. That's not it either. No. And input, tests, advanced device properties. That's where it was. All right. I'm going to go all the way up to here. Let me try it. Let me put 100%. There's 100. Well, that seems a little loud. Let me pull back down to like 98%. So I've now ramped it up. Is this better? So yeah, this is at 98. That's too loud. Okay. This is the problem. Is that this is between 90 and 98%. So it's very sensitive at this level. Let me pull back. Let me pull back down to like. No. Oh. Sound. Properties. Let's pull it back down to 96. So I'm now at 96%. How's that? Right now is okay. I'm gonna stick at. Let me go up to like 97%. That seems to be a pretty good middle ground. And we'll try that out. Thanks for the feedback. I appreciate that. Like that is very helpful. But now I'd like to figure out why it won't pull in. Oh, and now I'm getting. That's interesting. I'm now getting lower. There's Olimar, but it's not doing the background. So I wonder if they've changed the CSS and all the visuals on that. It's possible. Oh, or am I supposed to have? Yeah, that's it. The black background is a thing I added in separately. It's like a black background. I don't have that here, so I would need to recreate that. So that makes sense. Cool. So at least the chat's working. Yeah, appreciate it, Omar. It's always helpful to try to get the channel to as many people as possible. So I'll just have to recreate that lower third. I actually kind of like having the the chat just floating on nothing. It's fairly readable too. I have to play around with doing that normally. So now we go here, go to Otaku, and we're trying to figure out why the display capture on the displays is just completely blank. That's weird. So basically, there's an option for me to. Let me try a new one. Display capture. Display capture. Me too. I imported all of these from a different computer. I think I want to display one. Okay. Where'd that go? There it is. And just completely empty. I wonder why that is. All right, can I do I hate to do like a window capture. That's going to be not going to display much, or it's going to be very laggy. Let's see what happens. Window capture 3, and we're going to try Discord. All right, and then if I excuse me, if I full screen Discord, will that get me kind of what I normally see? Full screen Discord. Ooh, no, it doesn't. Oh, but that's okay. Hold on. Let me see if I can get this working. No. Wow, why won't it let me resize that? That's weird. Hold on. Oh, because its cursor's in the wrong screen. I'm clicking on the screen, but it's not actually a thing. All right. And then we select this, move it. And then we select this, and resize it. And then I'm going to move that down here. Hopefully, come on. There we are. And then can I yeah. So if I transition over, nope, wrong thing. There we go. So this is something like what Otaku would be like. Obviously, it would have all the windows. But so the question now is, what's the quality on this? Because I'm now like window capturing and streaming that out through YouTube, and I'm going to expect the video quality to be a little cheesier than usual. It's going to be a lower frame rate. The question is how bad is this? So I'll go back and look at this later to see what's going on. The other thing that annoys me is my new glasses. They're pretty reflective, so you can see the lamps in here, which is a little distracting. So I wonder if for the live streams I should just be glassesless. That's a little less distracting. I don't know. Not sure. The color's a little washed, a little grayish. Yeah, that seems to be a thing with that camera too. And I may just look into seeing if there's like some drivers I can install for Windows to control it. Because I bought it, plugged it in, it worked. But there's nothing I know of in Windows 10, or is there, that you all know of, like an automatic, like a pre-installed application to adjust the settings on a camera, like a webcam. I'm not aware of that. Because the thing is, I can't really do it in OBS, the streaming software, because this is going through Discord, right? I need I need the settings on the computer, because this is just a fly feedback of my USB webcam. It's weird. I don't know why that would be. But yeah, and I'm already seeing some slowness on here. But again, when I'm talking to the guys, that's going through an internet connection too, so that's slow. So that's not, I'm fine with being a little laggy on the otaku space, because we're all laggy in that level. So yeah, I'll have to see. Well, let me just double check something. If I go to Amazonia and I look at my orders and I look at camera, I think that's the one. Yeah, that must be the one. Okay. Is that really it? I guess that's it. Yeah, that must be it. Okay. So, next question is, are there are there drivers? Is there settings? Like obviously it works. No additional drivers are required, which is fine. Is there like a good like a Windows application to fiddle with camera settings? Let's see here. Windows 10 camera webcam app. Webcam app settings. Windows 10 settings. Access webcam settings. Windows 10. Okay, yeah, no, this is obviously an ad. And apparently, that's an interesting thought. Apparently, within the camera app, if you right-click on the screen, hey, Escape, good to see you. Yep, had a good Thanksgiving. I'm just testing out a new setup. So let me just try something real quick. I'm going to switch back to this, which is much more lovely. And then I'm going to disconnect from there. That should turn off that camera. And then I'm going to, what do I want to do? Oh, yes. Camera. And then if I select, no, that's not what I want. If I want, how do I change the camera it's pulling from? Oh, it's looking at that camera. That's not what I want. No. I want a different camera. And that's, okay, so they're completely wrong. Close. There's that one. So then they were saying if you right click inside the camera app, you can change its settings, but that's just not true. I can change the settings of the camera app, but not of the actual camera. Because I want to fiddle with all of those settings. Hey, Spin, good to see you. Oh, good, awesome. Glad that came fairly quickly. So how can I fiddle with how can I adjust like the contrast and such on a camera? So let me try this. This is a Tolulu webcam software. Webcams, more info. Let's see here, add to wish list, more info. I'm just wondering if they have a little app you can download that lets you go in and change the settings on there, but it doesn't look like it. That's annoying. Not to complain, but like on the Mac, there's like a camera settings app you go in and you can change all those things, and some of them at least. So apologies for the low level of content here. I'm just testing out these settings here and trying to figure out how to make the other webcam less terrible, or less washed out, I should say. Let's see, webcam. How to change webcam color settings in Windows 10. No, this does not seem very helpful. Start camera. Change your camera settings. No, we see that's not. Yeah. Microsoft is saying if you want to change your camera settings, open the camera app and change the settings. But that's just changing the settings of the camera app, not of the camera itself. It's just changing the quality you're taking photos in and whether you want a framing grid displayed on the camera app. But it's not actually changing any things. Brightness, contrast, that kind of thing. Well, okay. Windows 10, how to change contrast on webcam in Windows 10. How do we do for webcam? Change camera brightness on Windows 10. This is more helpful apparently. Okay, so there's a webcam settings app, which I'm sure is going to be completely. Yeah. Okay, this does look like what I'm looking for. But I'm a little. Worried. Oh, there's a pro mode. Oh, okay. Well, let's see if that works. Do I have pro mode turned on? Huh? That is not an option in my version of. Great. But maybe I've already turned it on. I can't have. All right. You review someone in the right. So in that, apparently there's an option. Oh, yep. There's a brightness, which changes the brightness. Which is, I mean, I don't really care about brightness. I mean, I can. It's actually a little nicer if I lower the brightness a bit. Let's try that. And then, is that all? Yeah, brightness is all you can change. But again, I don't know if that's, well, let's find out. We go over here. We click on the live show. We go click on that. We start up that camera. The other question is, there is a webcam on the laptop. Which I could try using. But I don't know what the quality is on that. We can try out. And actually that webcam is not, oh, you're right, it can't because I have the app running. Try that again. There we go. Is that does seem a little bit better, a little bit darker. Yeah, this is with the darkness turned down. That is better. I like that significantly better. But I would like more contrast. Just generally changing various settings and such. So there's, all right, that does that. Yeah, no, that's. Nope. So there's this webcam settings tool for Windows 10, but I mean, boy, does that sound like something that's just full of, full of issues, full of weirdnesses. There's the Windows Store. It's $1. There's a 1-day free trial version. Let's see what the things are there. Here, interesting. I'm not seeing any like reviews, which worries me. Overview. Like I don't trust reviews, but I want to see that reviews exist. I want to see that people have tried it, and that there's not a crazy amount of stuff. Well, I could install the free trial and play around with that, but this is at least better. Like it's not as bad, I think. It is annoying that I have, because the thing is, the camera I'm using right now is a lovely Logitech webcam, and they don't sell that anymore. Like I would ideally just have the dual things, but I just can't find a webcam that is that nice. Let me just try something though. Yeah, this is the standard sort of webcam they recommend. Oh, actually, They do sell it, but it's hideously expensive now. That's the thing. This is a Logitech Brio up here, which when I bought it was I think $80, which is expensive, but for I'm live streaming all the time, it kind of makes sense. But now the only version they have is this again $200 version, and I'm just not thrilled with the idea of switching over to buying an extra $200 webcam just for that extra thing. So if I could get a decent one, I mean, I don't need. There's a Logitech Pro for. Ideally, like something for like maybe $50, right? Like that middle ground between really cheap, the $25, $30 webcam, and the $100 webcams. We'll see. But the point is, this all seems to work. That is the point. I did watch Project A earlier, and I watched the rest of Megazone 2-3, which I actually liked a lot, by the way. I found that surprisingly enjoyable, so to speak. So that was cool. So I've been watching a little bit of anime. Oh, that's weird. Why did all of my settings change? Why did all of my info died on my Google Chrome? That's odd. Definitely some weirdness there. That's live. Huh, it just killed my connection. Weird. Yeah, that's the other issue, is that webcams are just expensive right now because everyone's in quarantine and everyone's doing that. Yeah, this Brio is fantastic. Like I love everything about it. Plug and play, good, good color quality. But yeah, it's that color, it's that availability issue. And again, this is the problem: is that folks say for the Discord camera, I like it. It's great because those are home users who are using it for random stuff or occasional streamers, and that's fine. But oh well. Hey Natash, good to see you. Excelon 1080p webcam. Let me see what's Excelon. That isn't the. Whoops. Nope. It's the wrong button. Excelon webcam. Let's see what they have. It is Black Friday, so I'm gonna buy. At White Hat, yeah. Not seeing it on Amazon, unfortunately. Which doesn't mean that I'd have to buy it on Amazon, but. Oh no, Nadesh! Sorry to hear that. I've actually been spending a lot of time recently on the Old Recipes subreddit, old_recipes, which is a lot of fun. And they have a recipe for a chocolate, like a Nana's chocolate cake, basically, which people have been trying and saying is amazing. Let me see if I can find the thing here. Nana's Devil Food Best, yeah. Reddit, old recipes, known only as Nana's Devil's Food. Let me see if I can show you guys this. There we are. So stop it. Not you all. So if I go over here, that's gonna take some getting used to. And I do. Oh, this will be interesting. I usually have a just local desktop thing. Yeah, that's just not working. The display capture isn't working. Interesting. All right, which is why I have this window capture too, because I want to grab this edge. Whoa! Sorry. It is absurdly massive. So let me just adjust that so you all can actually see it and not just like 10% of the screen. We'll do that. So this is Nana's Devil's Food Cake. 2 cups flour, teaspoon salt. You can see all that cocoa, some oil, some milk, and as you can see, a cup of coffee, which some recipes just have water instead of the coffee. You don't actually taste the coffee. The coffee just deepens the flavor of it. But in the cooking process, the particular flavor profile of coffee gets baked out essentially, and it just deepens the flavor of the chocolate. And so a lot of folks have been trying this, and let me just see if I can show you, because this subreddit, loves Nana's chocolate cake. And if we go to recipes, and we scroll down, if we just scroll down this subreddit a little bit, we will find Nana's chocolate cake a lot. Especially a little while ago, a couple weeks ago, it kind of exploded all over the subreddit. Not in a bad way, not in the oven exploding way. I should search for it. Clearly. You know what? Just stop. Search. I forgot how you search within a subreddit. Nana's chocolate cake. Or no, Devil's food cake. Show results from recipes. There we go. And yeah, you can just see folks having a lot of fun with this. Doing it a lot. Lot of things. Very moist, very flavorful apparently. So keep at it, Nitesh, and you will get there. It just takes some time, takes some getting used to. While I'm here, I'm gonna try something. 1 second. Oh, actually, yeah, I might. Because this new laptop uses, should have Bluetooth, so I should be able to use a Bluetooth mouse. But I have one of these USB, remote mice. So let me just add that in. I'd much rather have something that's like real Bluetooth. You have to plug in a little dongle thing, which is annoying. But that should work to give me yeah, good. So the mouse works. That makes things a lot easier. Cool. I'll have to play around a bit with all these settings and such. Okay, but yeah, this all seems good. B&H. Okay, let me just check B&H then real quick. What was that? Oh, gotta go down here to the thing. Excel on. Webcam. Excel on. $50. In stock, free shipping. One of your business days. Yeah, I might do that. Thank you. Thanks, Game Escape. I might do that. Yes, I read a lot of books. I love books. I'm a reader. This is all the manga. Well, these 3 bookcases are manga, and then back here are other things like travel books and Japanese books and books on anime and manga actually. So like books about anime, and then over here is the just other sort of general books, D&D and comics and novels and all that good stuff. Yeah, I'm definitely a reader. Hey, Tom Palmal, I think? Palmal? Despera. Yeah. Um, I'm waiting for Despera too. I really, really want Despera. Um, but that seems like it's caught in development hell, sadly. Despera is a work made by the creators of Lane, the main sort of core staff of Serial Experiments Lane, as well as some other works. And unfortunately, the director passed away. But they've been trying to get it made ever since, and it just hasn't really worked. Suggest some novels, you bet. So, what kind of things do you like? Are you a fan of like action adventure? Science fiction, fantasy, all that kind of stuff. Favorite thing I read in 2020? That's a great question. I'm gonna pull up my Goodreads, which I use basically just to keep track of what I read. I'm not like active on there in terms of writing long reviews or anything, but just a nice way for me to say, oh yeah, I did indeed read things. So 2020 favorite book. And just scroll up through. Let's see here. I had a big variety of things. Getting back to the cooking, so my favorite cooking, baking related thing is a book called Poilâne, which, let me see if I can just throw that in there. Science fiction and romance. Okay, one second. So Poilâne is the name of the book. It's about a French, or I'm sorry, I believe an Italian bakery. Why was I thinking French? Is it French or is it? It's Italian. It's got to be Italian. Gosh, I can't believe I can't remember that. Anyway, it's about a bakery that makes these very hearty traditional loaves. It became very famous for that, and then became well known in a lot of places for the quality of their bread. And so a lot of modern interest in like rustic loaves came from interest in Poilâne. Sadly, the most of it's a family-run business for decades, and sadly most of them died in a helicopter accident unexpectedly, and the daughter, who was I think 22 at the time, she was in college, so it must have been like 19 or 20, discovered this. She heard that her father and brother and so forth had been killed in this helicopter accident, and had to rush back and take over the business unexpectedly, and has since really made it her own. And she really did not expect to do that. She really was not on the track to become the owner of this legendary bakery, but has really done great stuff with it. So that was cool, and obviously a lot of recipes for bread baking, which is something I love. Otherwise, some fun recommendations. I've been through a lot of weird things. So I really liked Revolutionary Wealth by Alvin and Heidi Toffler. Alvin Toffler wrote a lot about sort of larger trends historically and economically and such, and where he saw things were going, and was very accurate in his predictions in like the 70s and 80s. So definitely worth looking at. And Revolutionary Wealth is his book from the 90s, predicting kind of where things would be going, and very accurate. So Revolutionary Wealth is a really helpful way of looking at how society is evolving, and especially like how money is evolving, which is helpful. Fast Forward is really interesting. It's a book about the early days of the VCR. Okay, fair enough. Fast Forward is interesting because it's all about the early days of the VCR and the wars over the VCR, the early VHS days, people starting up rental shops, the potential legalities of those, which was very questionable in the early days of duplicating movies just in general, and how that was very much not something that was settled quickly. People think that people just started up doing these VHS tapes, and now that was very much a questionable thing, and it took a while to kind of figure all that stuff out. Most interesting from kind of an anime perspective, definitely, was a book called Sharing a House with a Never-Ending Man, by Steve Alpert, who was an American who worked at Studio Ghibli for 15 years, and was sort of the head of their international branch. And so he spent a lot of time with Hayao Miyazaki and Toshio Suzuki and all the folks at Ghibli. And it's mostly a set of anecdotes about just kind of various things that happened to them over the course of the time. There's some stuff about Japanese business and how different it is, and just the Japanese business world, which is fascinating. So from an anime perspective, that's probably the big one I recommend, and the one that I kind of remembered a lot. All right, Nitesh, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. That was cool. And otherwise, reading a lot of manga, much of which is not on these shelves. A lot of the manga I read now is digital, just because it's easier, and just less stuff to keep track of and to dust and all that stuff. Possessions are a lot, but yeah, a lot of cool books. I've read books on the evolution of Asia over the 20th century. I just finished a book on history of Korea, which is really, really helpful, kind of this short, broad overview of history of Korea. And I believe it's just called The History of Korea, in Amazon. Yeah, I'm with you, Game Escape. Physical's nice, but also my physical is starting to age, like it's starting to weather and it's starting to fade, yellow. So, but that's the reality. Yeah, and the digital copies are just going to stay that way, stay as they are, and it's just fewer things to manage. And obviously there are downsides as well, but yeah, it's that weird thing. I love physical books, but I also recognize that physical books have disadvantages. There are downsides to managing a collection of physical books and being like, if I ever have to move, and we live in a mobile society increasingly where, you're not guaranteed that your next job is going to be like convenient to your current house. So not being able to pick up and move is kind of a detriment these days. Doesn't grab you, yeah. Granted, I'm big on having, a dedicated digital reading device. Not dedicated necessarily, but a device that is good for digital reading. So something with a really nice screen for that. So in fact, the thing I'm working on right now is a device that has a nice screen for reading. Because if you're doing everything off a Chromebook, like that screen, as far as I've seen, I haven't used a Chromebook like heavily, but that screen really is not like optimized for reading like manga and for like the high res images of manga and like all that kind of stuff. Where if you had like a Fire tablet or another device like that, or just something that's just generally better for those sorts of things, is easier, then that's cool. The device I've been using is actually I have it right here. So it's a little Huawei tablet. Well, I say little, but it's a Huawei tablet, which I bought to experiment with, Chinese-made digital things, and it's a full Windows 10 tablet, and I like it a lot. Like it's an effective device for doing that, and the nice thing is it's a full Windows 10 machine, so I can do software development on this. I can do kind of whatever I want. I can live stream on this if I actually have used this for live streaming, but it goes at like 4 frames per second. It's just not great. But that's been really nice because it's nice and light, and you just go through and read. So that's been helpful. But I've had like Kindle tablets in the past, one or two of those, and they're great and they're obviously optimized for reading. So if you can go that direction, I would definitely go in that direction. But I just liked having the one device that was a general purpose device instead of just being a reading device, personally. But they're also, if you're a heavy reader, like there's something to be said for having a dedicated reading electronic device. I'm just trying to be as minimalist as I can. In fact, you see right back there, those are the boxes for this laptop I'm using right now, which is technically like a 2-in-1, so I can pop off the screen and use it as a tablet. That's what I like about it. Reading Utsubora, psychological drama. Utsubora, the story of a novelist. Wow. Oh, interesting. Huh. That is definitely a distinctive cover. Wow. Interesting. Very Satoshi Kon-esque. Yeah, that definitely looks Satoshi Kon-esque. Thank you. I might snag a copy of that once I get through. I'm currently on the second volume of Spy Family, which I mentioned back in the live stream, which is this light-hearted spy action-adventure story, comedy, basically, about a group of, a spy, an assassin, and a telepath all in a family, but they can't tell each other what their actual, jobs are, so they're all hiding things from each other, but very sweet, and so I'm enjoying that, but it's definitely light entertainment, so I might switch over to try something a little heavier. I try to kind of balance doing some light stuff, some heavier stuff. Much as I love the heavier stuff, it can be exhausting. I read a book called Deep River by Shusaku Endo a while back, which is it's a heavy novel about life, death, spirituality, all that kind of stuff. Thanks for stopping by, Russ. Good to see you. And it was a great novel, but afterwards I needed something lighter. I definitely can't do too much of that at once. Gotta spread it out. Just personally. Wow. Cool. Sorry, looking up some of this stuff. Hey, Sal Gumby, good to see you. Doing well. Had a nice Thanksgiving here in the U.S. Very, very small Thanksgiving. Very quiet Thanksgiving. Watching Lucky Star. Yeah, there's a good contrast, definitely. Works about plagiarism versus chocolate cornets. But yeah, so my parents are they live in a house alone with a dog, and so they're very effectively quarantined. So I went to see them for Thanksgiving because it's very I feel that's safe. They go out. My dad goes out 1 or twice a week for groceries. That's it. So I felt that was a reasonable risk given the COVID-19. So I went out there and had Thanksgiving with them and came back home. So that was nice. I did some D&D. Nice. I had a D&D session earlier in the week, which was fun. Characters tried to attack a black dragon the previous session and had their butts handed to them, and so they were kind of reassessing the situation in this most recent session to figure out what they were going to do. Ended up attacking some Duragar and taking them out, and then figuring out what their next step is, which is probably going to be going back and clearing out the rest of this dungeon and then kind of maybe letting the dragon be and saying like, yeah, hey dragon, we'll deal with you later, maybe. Yeah. Yeah, I'm actually working on a D&D setting, a little sort of mini setting, a little land that you can kind of pull out and drop into your own setting wherever you want to. And been trying to make some progress on that. It's difficult because I'm trying not to be, I'm trying to have a fun creative project and make it sort of big and bold without overextending myself, without making it a slog. And so I've been commissioning some art for it, which is fun, but it's one of those things where it's hard to find that balance between making something that people will be excited about, without investing a lot of time and money in building out maps and art and all that stuff. Like I enjoy just writing out descriptions and doing simple maps of things, but that doesn't really get people excited about something, right? They need to see art, they need to see images, they need to see that stuff. And so, and then once you've committed to that, once you're spending money on it, that really changes your relationship to the product, right, and to the experience. Now you're kind of committed to it in a way that you weren't before when it was this fun project. Maybe you were aiming high, but still it wasn't quite the same. When you I'm with Frost Maiden. Need some playtesting for the setting. I would love some playtesting for the setting, which is should be. That it? There it is. So this is the current draft. Again, I'm still obviously working on it. So if you go to, and I think I can drop the link in here without it killing anything. So that's a link to the current draft of the setting. Just a bunch of stuff I've thrown together for it. I have technically set up a Patreon if folks want to, vote on what I want to work on next. I figure it'd be nice it would be a good incentive for me to move forward. But everything on there is free. And the Patreon would be for early access to materials that will eventually be public. So anything you want to try, play it out, experiment with. Basically, there's a whole bunch of stuff on the map, but only a few things have been sort of built out, and that's kind of intentional. I want to have maybe a third of the points on the map actually with maps and all that kind of stuff, and leave the rest up to the DM to put their own stuff into there, decide how they want to do that. That's all that. Oh, I just realized I'm not recording. Let me try that. Hold on. That's not a very good test then. Shoot. I've not been recording locally this whole time, which is a better test for the whole system, make sure everything is happy. So yeah, anything you want to use on that, go for it. It's all meant to be very much public and open and free for anyone to use. And the more I build it, the more stuff is there, and the more, hopefully, more fun it'll be. But it's fun to sit down and say, oh, what's there? Let me write some stuff about that thing. Let me write stuff about that thing, and just kind of expand and expand. And who knows where it will go. But yeah. Oh, that's interesting. When I started recording, the quality dropped significantly on my OBS. Of the Dark Souls world, not really, because I'm just not up for that kind of gameplay. That's just a lot for me to do. I'm not a good video game player yet. I just don't have the experience, the mastery to actually go in and do that. Hard games are very hard for me, so I haven't really dove into that. And if I can't play the games, I feel like diving into the lore isn't as interesting. For me personally. Been playing a lot of Genshin Impact though. That's my current obsession. Getting in about maybe an hour a day on average. Although I'm a little stuck right now because my world's leveled up pretty high, but I can't actually level up my characters until I beat some bosses, but because the world level is high, they're really tough. so I can't really level them up until I beat the bosses, but the bosses are like 10 levels higher than my characters. So I'm like, this is like a really big gap, you know, and I understand that you're supposed to like get skilled at things, but there's, you know, there's getting skilled, and then there's like, it's going to take me like an hour to beat this boss. And I don't know that I want to put in that much effort for this free game, just to, you know, be able to get a little bit further. So we'll see. Maybe there are other ways around it. But yeah, always trying to figure out all that kind of stuff out. Wow, yeah, this is definitely changing some stuff. Yakuza 7 forces you to grind. That's interesting because I played a fair amount of Yakuza Kiwami. Really liked that, and I never felt like I had to grind that game. I felt like I could just kind of play the plot line through, and as long as I was, you know, spending a little time on the side quests, because the side quests are fun, you know, and as long as I was exploring the world besides just doing the main quest, I could move forward. That's interesting. Yeah, that's the thing, is I'm not. I heard about the turn-based thing. That surprised me a lot, that they made that change for Yakuza 7. So, yeah, I prefer games where you can kind of play at your own pace, where you don't have to grind. I think grinding is a sign of poor game design. I think there should be a balance, right, where you're playing through the game and, you know, what you do in the game. Because here's the thing, Beowulf didn't have to grind, right, in his story. He didn't have to go out and kill boars for 6 months before he could face down Grendel. He was doing other things before that. He was kind of grinding as a warrior before he got to Grendel. But that's not the story. That's not the story you're telling. And when I'm playing a game, I'm not playing I don't start at 4 years old and go through all those steps, right? This should be a big epic thing, and so you're telling me that I have to do all of this side stuff. Repetitive side stuff is kind of annoying. Yakuza being a good example, where ideally that side stuff is so varied that it's always innovative, it's always new, it's always fresh, and so it feels fun and interesting. And so, like, I enjoyed the fact that in Genshin Impact, up until this point, I could grind by doing the daily quests, which were varied enough. You could basically 4 a day, out of maybe 12 or 15, maybe more than that, different types of quests. So, you know, clear out this camp of hilly churls. It would be in a different spot every time. And you may not get it every single day. And you could do that. But, and so, you felt like you were going out and exploring the world and fighting off some bad guys in a way that kind of made sense in that thing. Yeah, and I did love Monster Hunter, when I played of that. But then again, that is its own different kind of gameplay, where fighting that monster is the game, and you are strategizing around how you are fighting that monster, compared to standard grinding. Yeah, and that's kind of where I am, where these bosses I need to beat to get these. So basically, your characters. You can level them up normally, then when they hit levels 20, 40, etc., they need to ascend, which means they need special items. You need to gather special items in the world to be able to actually level them up. And for these particular characters, not all of them, but some of them, particularly including at least 2 of my mains, you have to defeat these particular monsters in the game. These particular, like, basically evil flowers that spit out, like, fireballs and such. And their HP is just so high that even with heroes that react against their particular element, it's just, okay, the bar goes down a tiny bit per attack. And it takes forever to reload the supers and such. So basically you have to do a 20 to 30 minute flawless run to beat it, and you need to beat it twice to be able to level up the character, to ascend it, if you will, beyond level 40. So it's just kind of like, is that how I really want to spend my my time, just to be able to get this one character, up a level? So we'll see. Hey, I'm testing just my settings. I have a new machine here, and I'm playing around with the settings there and seeing if I can effectively stream with this. And now that I'm recording as well, it's actually not working as well as I was hoping. It's kind of chugging pretty badly. So I'm not sure if I'll be able to use this in future. Yeah, and this gets down to kind of what kind of game are you making? Are you making a game for, apologies, 15-year-olds who can spend, 80 hours a week playing your game, or the rest of the world, where it's like that is a difference. Where if you're in school, and obviously school takes time. This is not to denigrate the amount of time that school takes for that. No, I'm not a game developer. I am an anime streamer. Although I've actually, I've designed role-playing games, tabletop role-playing games over there. And I played around with video games, but I've not actually published any video games. Have I? Technically, I have. I published like source code for video games a long time ago. But yeah, and I think for Genshin Impact, I've basically I triggered things to make the world level up. You have world levels, and as the world levels up, creatures get stronger. And I think just for whatever reason, I triggered world levels up faster than the game than the traditional pattern kind of anticipated. So I think I unfortunately ended up in a spot that wasn't that great. My goal with this channel is to have interesting conversations with other people about anime and manga, and to think about how they impact us as human beings, how we grow and change as human beings through the media we consume. Because anime and manga have changed me as a person, and I like to talk with other people about how that has happened for them. More than accomplish that goal, I appreciate that. And I'm trying to keeping on with that and going. Only watch Fullmetal Alchemist. Well, there's nothing wrong with Fullmetal Alchemist. That is a very solid anime to watch and explore. This is one of the fascinating things for me, though. Like, when I got into anime many years ago, if random people came into my, well, I didn't have a channel back then, but when I first started on this maybe 10 years ago, if random people came into my channel, there was very little chance they'd actually watch anime. It's amazing. You can, most people I stumble across now have watched anime, and that is such a different experience than being an anime fan 10 years ago, 20 years ago. And it's the cool thing, is that I can still have these conversations with folks who've only seen, Bleach, or Attack on Titan, or FMA. Which is really cool. May I ask, HRL, what attracted you to watching FMA? And Edward Elric and all that. Yeah, thanks, Captain Laser Eyes. That's the thing, is that there's this huge catalog of anime to watch. And the idea that we can only talk about anime that came out in the past year seems awfully limiting. Imagine a movie site that only talked about movies that came out in the past year. That would be pretty limiting. It's like, we should probably talk about, Inception, and other movies like that. Like, hey, why do folks limit themselves so much? It's weird. Well, and granted, the anime audience, anime fandom tends to be younger, and that tends to create a focus on, on the new. There's that kind of fetish for the new. And let me try something real quick. I also want to test, now that I'm testing with local recording, if I switch over to this view. Oh, and actually, okay, switch over to this view. Doop. And then turn this on. I wonder what that's going to look like. Everything should still show up, but okay, yeah. So I'm using the other camera, which again is a little washed out, but it's not as bad, not as terrible. I think about it, it's fascinating to decide to watch it. Yeah, fair enough. Finished G Gundam in one day on Wednesday. Wow. How did you do that? Because that's 25 hours of content. Or like 23, maybe? It's 50 episodes. How do you watch 50 episodes in a day? It seems like there's more than a day of content. Saturday, Tuesday night. So you didn't sleep at all? Wow. Yeah, I can't do that anymore. I'm sure there was a time when I could have watched anime like that. And this is interesting. My connection is actually better when I'm doing this than when I switch over to doing the full video cam. I wonder why that is. Or the full video here. Huh. Interesting. I wonder what's going on with my... Yeah. And now it's just... having a really rough time with that. Well, here's another question. If I turn off the overlay up there, is that any better? We'll find out in a moment. I doubt it, because it's also overlaying this down here. I can also test to see what happens if I turn off chat. I mean, chat will still be there, but just not make it visible here, basically. Let me just try that real quick. Although it's actually not too bad right now. Oh yeah, no, it's okay. So I'm gonna hide chat on the screen, and we'll see if that makes OBS and the stream any happier. It does seem a little better. Again, I can still see stream the chat. It still exists. It's just not going to be as not going to be right here on the screen. Nah, it seems about the same. Maybe slightly better, but nothing crazy. Yeah, I saw that Tom Palmai. That was kind of funny because it's like, Miyazaki was like, "That's nice. I don't care." Like, Miyazaki was one of those, So a movie was successful. Great. Doesn't really affect him or his legacy. Okay, yeah, that doesn't have any significant effect, so that's good to know. Whoops. Okay, yeah, it just has to reload. There we are. Because that's the thing about Miyazaki, is that he's not particularly concerned about other... Hey, Manaf! He's not particularly concerned about other people's success and all that, or even the success of his movies, really. He's just putting them out there in the world, and he'll see what happens, right? Like, a movie can outperform his movie, that's fine. I look British but don't sound British. I'm not sure what to think about that. I will have to think about that. While I put on a ridiculous British accent. Exactly. Kaze Tachinu. What is that? Oh, The Wind Rises. I have complicated feelings about The Wind Rises because I am frustrated that Miyazaki mixed history and fiction in such an unclear way. I would have liked to see him be a little more. I don't know. It felt a little odd. Can I do? Oops, wrong thing. It's a lovely film. I thoroughly enjoyed watching it. but I'm just not. Again, it felt a little. And deceptive isn't necessarily the right word, but just a little weird to do something that was that. That distinctive, and wasn't as clear about what it is, right? Like didn't make me feel too crazy about the way he did that. But it's a fascinating film, right? Why is this? It's something about 500. So. Yeah, it's a little weird to have that. I think The Wind Rises does a great job of representing the classic Japanese man's view of what a household should be. That, you go to work, you come home, you have a wife to take care of your house for you, and your kids, and you're kind of disconnected from that. The Wind Rises is clearly kind of a reaction to a lot of what Goro Miyazaki complained about, with Hayao Miyazaki never being around as a father, which all sort of came out while Goro was working on Tale of Mercy, which is a whole other thing. But it's so that's interesting. I also appreciate it as this view of a man's life, fictionalized, but how this person had to deal with wanting to make a thing, but the only way he could make it was through by kind of compromising his values. He didn't really want to make it for the military, but those are the only people who would, those are the only folks who are hiring in that sense. So that's an interesting thing. That's good drama. But yeah, it's kind of weird. Yeah, it's a deeply personal movie, which is which makes it interesting. And obviously Hideaki Anno's in it. That makes it interesting as well. And so it's folks thinking about what's the right thing to do in a variety of circumstances. So that's always something that attracts me kind of from a thought perspective. But yeah, I don't know. It's also tough because it is not a particularly exciting film. Nausicaa, Castle in the Sky, Porco, Mononoke, the narrative drives very quickly. By The Wind Rises, it's just things happen, And it's not a boring film, but it just does not have that momentum that a lot of Miyazaki's earlier films had, which I miss. I teach computer programming, so I work for a boot camp within Capital One, where we teach recent college graduates how to write code and how to write secure code, which is rather important at a bank. And I teach them how to do that. I spent many years as a software developer, and now I teach folks how to do that, which is a lot of fun. I really enjoy that, and it synchronizes nicely with obviously I teach folks here about things, so that education aspect kind of synchronized nicely. You're a CS undergrad, awesome enough. You don't need my boot camp then, because my boot camp is for folks who don't have a CS degree, but want to get into programming, and so we get them up to speed. And so we teach them JavaScript primarily, Node, Express, front end, CSS, and then they expand all sorts of other stuff. But yeah, and I have diverse interests and diverse tastes and such, so that's fine. So good, I'm glad to hear that this is all working technically. Again, I'll have to go back and just skim through the actual recordings and so forth to see if there's anything going on behind the scenes that doesn't work out. Thanks, Manav. Yeah, I enjoy it, and we get a lot out of the students. They get up to speed very quickly, which I'm very proud of. because that's something that's, important, right? Here's another thing I wanted to test. Can I switch? Because right now I have, the screens are kind of backwards for me. So I'm wondering if I can go in here. Does Windows allow you to swap screens? It looks like it does. Apply. Yes, good. Okay. So now they have, one screen here, but they were reversed in Windows. So one, the one was over there. So I just had to switch that around. I'll be honest with Miyazaki. I like his earlier films, well, his middle films particularly, more than his later films. It's just, his later films just lack the impact that his earlier films had. Which is why I don't enthuse hugely over his next film. I'm looking forward to it. I'm curious to see what it's going to be, but it feels like they're just very much more personal things. And yeah, I'm with Yumanov. I think Isao Takahata's films are much more interesting than Miyazaki's films in the sense that they're deeper. As Toshio Okada, the Ota King, said, Miyazaki is a genius, but Takahata is a monster. Like, he's just crazy subtle with the stuff that he does and what he expects out of his audience. Takahata expects his audiences to understand his films on a very deep level, where Miyazaki kind of lays things out more. He's much more explicit to the audience, which is one of the reasons why Miyazaki's movies are more popular, because they're easier for folks to understand and consume, which is not a bad thing. But Takahata's films are just they're special. They're really stuff. And you're absolutely right, Cornish Cream Tea, and welcome, by the way. Miyazaki does he does repeat himself, where Takahata does not. My Neighbor the Yamadas is not the same as Princess Kaguya in any way, shape, or form. And it's not the same as Pompoko. It's just very stuff. Isao Takahata, which I will put in chat. Wrong keyboard. Isao Takahata. Takahata and Miyazaki have worked together for decades. Well, they worked together for decades. And Takahata is just amazing. Grave of the Fireflies is his big thing, which we'll be talking about in a couple weeks on the channel. Which are coming up on that, like 88. And I'll be talking about some of the very subtle stuff in Grave of the Fireflies that most folks don't get, and I didn't get until it was shown to me, where just, oh my gosh, there are things happening in that movie that Takahata expects you to pick up on that are just not clear. Yeah, absolutely. In fact, Only Yesterday is a really useful film to see, because one of the very few works of anime that really show what was like in the 50s and 60s in Japan, that sort of second golden age of Japan, where there was this burgeoning middle class. Folks had money, folks had access to things, and that slap, yeah, absolutely. And getting across how specific Japanese culture was, that it wasn't just like being in America in the 50s, right? And the things that people expect out of their children and such is very clear, and it's great having a film that is about somebody thinking about their childhood, and exploring what their childhood was like and kind of processing that, which comes across, which is a brilliant way in a film to show what that time was like, because it's not things from a child's perspective, it's both from the child's perspective and the adults looking back on that perspective. And those final moments in the film always make me cry. I'm actually getting a little emotional remembering the finale of the film, which by the way is not a sad film. It's just how he pulls together a lot of the symbolism and so forth in the end is just very affecting. It's very powerful. So, and I'll probably talk about this. Toshio Okada, the Ota King, I watched a video he made about this where he asked his chat, how many of you have never seen Grave of the Fireflies and never want to see it? How many of you have seen Grave of the Fireflies and will never watch it again? How many of you have seen it and will watch it again? How many of you have never seen it and are interested in watching it? And the vast majority of people were either, I have seen it and will never watch it again, or I have never seen it and I never want to watch it, because it has that experience. It has that effect on people. It is a very, very classic thing. I can rewatch it, over and over again. I get sad, but I don't have that feeling personally. Why am I Miracle? That sounds familiar. Oh yeah, no, I have not seen My Miracle, but I very much want to. I stumbled across images of that. And I'm like, that sounds right down my line. Red Line. Oh man, yeah, Red Line is that is an experience. That is just animation being shoved into your eyeballs for 90 minutes. It is just crazy. Yeah. That is an insane film. That is clearly animators just animating, and just how much animation can we make? How crazy can we make it? How over the top can we do it? Much like Project Echo, which we'll be talking about on Saturday, tomorrow. There's some great stuff in Redline if you just sit back and just let it all wash over you. It's just space racing. Space car racing, and that's all you need to know. That's all the animators need to know. Just we're gonna do this. So it's not particularly deep. It's not particularly complicated. It's just. I also appreciate Redline does some stuff, interesting stuff with fan service. There's one very fan servicey moment, but it is the stuff that they show and the stuff that they do during the fan service makes it clear they're kind of making fun of fan service itself. That they're very aware that fan service is kind of problematic, so I appreciate that there's a certain amount of why are we sexualizing women like this in media? But so it was kind of clever in a movie that is. I don't want to say the movie's not clever, but it is much more about feast for the eyes than about the complexity of the plot, right? There's some stuff going on. There's definitely some stuff to pay attention to in terms of who's doing what in Redline. Yeah, and if you want weirdness, Cat Soup. That's kind of my pointer to. If people think that all anime looks the same, look at Cat Soup. Cat Soup is just bizarreness all the way through, and a pretty high animation budget. It is not over the top action. It's just things moving all the time in Cat Soup. Yeah, Dead Leaves is a weird one. I think Dead Leaves. Have I seen Dead Leaves? No, I never saw Dead Leaves all the way through. It was showing at a friend's house or something, and so I watched a chunk of it, but never actually got all the way through it. As I recall. So one of these days I'll go back and finish that out. A lot of weird stuff in the history of anime. 80s and 90s in particular were a period for a lot of experimentation, a lot of bizarreness. By the way, while we're all here, do you guys have any suggestions for what we should talk about for a topic of conversation for Saturday? I like to take a topic from from you all, and pose it to John and Steve and the entire chat, and just have us all talk about it. Does anyone have something they'd like us to dive into, and just have a larger group conversation about, and we'll do that. Otherwise, yeah, it's interesting how that could just be. I have a little icon that changes color based on the quality of the stream. But it's saying 60 frames per second. It seems fine. So that could just be internet. It could be, people are streaming like crazy on Friday. Dementia as a genre in anime. Wow. I'm trying to think of any anime that deal directly with it. I've seen an animated film that's set at an old folks' home, at a retirement home, that is very much about that, but it's not anime. And there's certainly anime that deals with like loss of memory. Kaiba being one of the classic ones for me. But amnesia is fairly common, but not like dementia. Yeah, Satoshi Kon's films. I mean, Perfect Blue. I mean, that would be one of the poster children. Lane. I don't know if that's dementia though. Although you could argue it's sort of like a schizophrenia kind of thing. But if we're talking about just general sort of mental illness, if you will, mental problems, that's kind of foregrounded in anime. That's not just. I actually answered a question in the anime subreddit about this recently, where somebody asked about deep anime. To list all the deep anime, I'm like, that's a big one. Boogie Pop, definitely. Yeah, that's a great choice. Memories. Oh, interesting. 80 Police. I did not know. I remember watching 80 Police, but I don't remember that plotline. I'll have to go back and check that out. Night is Short. Walk On Girl? I don't remember that in that movie. They're more having strange experiences, as I recall. I've not seen Ergo Proxy, unfortunately, so I don't know there. Ooh, that's something that got really unhappy. What's going on there? Why am I suddenly so slow? Huh. It's showing as very laggy on my end. But it's showing as good internet connection. CPU at 30%. Okay. Windows is weird. I'm probably doing a Windows update in the background or something. Yeah, why is this so laggy all of a sudden? I still got that going. Yeah, this is definitely a problem on my end. This is a PC issue. Been live for an hour and a half? Could it be OBS is unhappy with how long I've been going? 1 second. Let me leave the thing so it's not seeing me, and then come back in and see if it's just about the amount of no. Wow, that's weird. Is it the camera? Actually, the other camera looks. I mean, it's laggy, but it's not that laggy. Isekai, they're necessarily in the anime industry. I don't get why people hate Isekai. I get why people are tired of Isekai. That is totally valid. I don't get why people hate on Isekai. Like, it's a genre like anyone else. And yeah, there's a lot of Isekai, but it's not like it's not like people are forcing you to watch Isekai. Like, you don't like Isekai, just don't watch the Isekai series. And, again, go back and watch shows from the past. I have seen the trailer for the new Oshii film, a series, which is weird. It's a comedy, for those not familiar. It looks like very much a screwball, wacky comedy. I don't know what to do to fix this thing. All right, 1 sec. Let me just try turning off some other. Well, that's not even. Well, I'm gonna leave the Discord call, which is like locking up Discord. Okay, that's that, which seems to have helped a little bit. I know. We'll just minimize Discord. You know what? Let me try. All right, so that's there. We started recording again. Welcome, Anav. Let me turn that off. Okay, so guess what? I was on battery that entire time. Like, for the last hour and a half, I wasn't plugged in. So no wonder it was having problems. And the reason it got all chuggy is because it was on like 5% battery power. It was trying to, live stream with 2 cameras and all that kind of stuff. So, okay, I'm a lot happier, and I think we're gonna be good. Apparently I knocked out the power cord, an hour and a half ago. So that's hilarious. All right. So, we're still good. We're still fine. Let me scroll back. What we're talking about. Mamoru Oshie's new movie, new series is a screwball comedy, and he worked on Urusei Yatsura, as we talked about in the previous stream. So he's no stranger to comedy. It's going to be interesting to see where that goes on there. And the budget doesn't look hugely high from what they showed in the trailer, which is a little odd considering Oshie's reputation. So I'm surprised by that. So breadth first search is exactly what it sounds like, and so you're just gonna have to go and scroll through and get the top level, and then go to the next level, I have seen Garm Wars, I think. Let me just check. I've seen a fair number of Oshie's stuff, Avalon. But I'm just trying to remember, of all the things he's done. I've seen Garm Wars, which I like a lot. Visually, it's interesting. It's visually unusual. It's memorable. But also just one of those things where it's like a lot of Oshii films. It has a problem pulling all its threads together for its ending. It feels like a lot of things are going on, and the ending comes in and it's like, oh, okay, I guess it's over now. Not totally unsatisfying, but just one of those, that's weird. So, but interesting. Definitely a film I enjoyed, but then I also like visually distinctive sci-fi. So if you like that kind of stuff, that's that. So cool. All right. All right. So that explains that, and yeah, connection's a lot more stable. Everything seems a lot happier. That explains why everything was so crazy. It still has issues occasionally, but it looks like this seems much more happy. Cool. So I may be able to actually do this. Sweet. Maybe a little bit more this when I'm doing the live streams, but that's fine. Cool. Well, it is about noon. I am going to need to go and grab some lunch for myself. So thank you all for sticking around with me for this. And I will have to do some more setup for Saturday. But I think this definitely tests out the concept. I think we can definitely do this on Saturday. Thanks, Game Escape. Thanks, Manav. Appreciate having you here. I really like the idea of Manav of dimension sort of mental illness as a genre in anime. I'm gonna copy and paste that, and just save that. There we go. So I've got that stored off, and we will. I think we're going to talk about that on Saturday. Thanks all. Hope you have a great rest of the weekend, and I will see you all actually tomorrow on the live stream, if nothing else, and more stuff coming. Thanks all. Have a great one. See you. Bye.